DOJ official says she was fired after opposing the restoration of Mel Gibson's gun rights. I hate to break it to you. If you are a if you are a federal employee and you are refusing orders from your supervisors, then that's grounds for termination. Why is that so fucking hard to understand? Is is restoring Mel Gibson's gun rights, is that unethical? Is that immoral? Right? Did the DOJ order this woman to go kill somebody? No. Right? Because like even in the military, right? This woman's not in the military. She probably wouldn't ever be able to make it in the military. Okay? You can refuse unlawful orders in the government, right? Even in the military, you can refuse unlawful orders. If your superior officer in the military is telling you to gun down civilians, you can refuse it. You can 100% refuse it. Okay? And I'm talking about like okay, because I'm not an advocate for refusing orders predominantly in the military. Why? Because you're in the fucking military and there's very serious shit going on around you, right? But there are very cut and dry instances of where a default refusal of the order is warranted. Gunning down civilians is one of them, right? Gunning down gunning down the marine to your left and right. That's one of them, right? Like what the fuck are you talking about? Okay? It has to be a legitimately unlawful order, not an order you don't like. That's not how it works. And that's what this woman did, who worked for the Department of Justice, an executive agency. She was ordered by her commanding officer to go ahead and restore Mel Gibson's gun rights. Okay? You can, but you don't have to. They were in direct violation of Order 66. They were in direct violation of Order 69. Giggity, right? Look at this. The former U.S. pardon attorney Elizabeth G. Oyer was terminated Friday after she opposed restoring actor Mel Gibson's rights to carry a gun. Her spokesperson and two Justice Department officials familiar with the matter told NBC News. Notice how the left, like we're gonna start highlighting this. Notice how the left never gives you a name for who's the spokesperson or who are these other two Justice Department officials. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you aren't giving names, I don't give a fuck what they have to say. I don't believe that they actually said anything unless there is more evidence provided. Right? But so she was a US pardon attorney, which means that she worked for the DOJ in the pardon attorney's office of the DOJ. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know why she was involved in the first place because they're not talking about giving a pardon to Mel Gibson. That might be what it was, is that they were offering up a pardon to Mel Gibson. That isn't up to the pardon attorney to determine whether or not it occurs. It's not. I'm sorry that like people who work in the pardon office of the DOJ, their entire job is to facilitate pardons. That's it. They're not the ones who get to dictate who is pardoned. That power squarely belongs with the chief executive, the president of the United States. So she is refusing lawful orders from her superiors to restore the gun rights of Mel Gibson. A spokesperson for Warriors said that she was not told why she was terminated, but that because of the sequence of events, she believes her refusal to carry out a request from officials in the Deputy Attorney General's office to add Gibson's name to a list of people to have their gun rights restored may have played a role. Um, I look, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I don't think um like this is the thing, right? Leftists are the ones who push to have convicted felons or criminals, right? have their rights restored after completion of their sentence. And I actually agree with that, because you lose a lot of your rights. Okay? Like when you get convicted of crimes or something like that in this country, it fucks you over. It fucks people over. And this is exactly why a lot of people who commit crimes are repeat offenders. Because after they pay the price for committing their crime, they are then socially, like societally, right? That's what socially is. Society, social, like it's the same fucking thing. They're socially ostracized for the rest of their life. So they can't find gainful employment. Okay? They can't get other shit because of that. They should have their rights restored. That's the whole point. The whole point of fucking getting a sentence passed down to you for a crime you committed is so that you can pay the price of the crime you committed. And then from there, you're supposed to be square, right? You're supposed to be a fucking fresh start. That's the way it should be. But leftists don't actually support that belief. Okay? Now, it's very few people in this nation who should have their rights stripped away from them indefinitely, right? People who murder people. Okay? They shouldn't be released from prison in the first place. Right? I actually believe in the death penalty and they should receive that instead. But prison is supposed to be about reformation. Yeah. No, it's actually not. They try to paint that picture nowadays. It's not, right? So this is why it pisses me off that they started renaming prisons correctional facilities. It doesn't correct anything. It doesn't correct anything, right? Like, let me put it this way. People who have to go to AA or people who are addicted to certain substances and stuff like that, they're specifically told not to be around people who drink or who do X drugs or some shit like that. Why? Because when you surround yourself with people with certain types of behavior, you then you like you then begin to typically partake in that behavior, right? I'm an individual who doesn't do that. I've always been an individual who doesn't do that. Okay, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't do any of that shit. I don't dip or anything like that. And the entire time I was in the Marine Corps, I was told by other Marines that it was really cool that I was actually like that, because a lot of them started drinking or smoking or picked up a bad habit or some shit like that because of being in the Marine Corps or whatever. Because a lot of people in the military smoke or drink or, you know what, some people do drugs, and sometimes they get filtered out, sometimes they fucking don't, unfortunately. But so when you take someone and you stick them around a bunch of other criminals, and then after they get out, right, they picked up skills, they picked up knowledge while in jail or while in prison, and now they're being socially ostracized and they can't get their life back on track. Well, now they just have a bigger fucking skill set. Like, it's not, prison actually isn't about reformation. Prison, like, it's about paying the price for your crime. Okay? Um because the process is considered to be reformative, because it used to be in this country that when you got out of prison, okay, that you paid the price for your crime. And it's the same thing. And why is this, right? Because our country's built on Christian values, okay? And and when you repent, or whatever you want to chalk it up to, Jesus died for the sin of man, okay? And we're built on Christian values, okay? So you go to prison, you pay the price, you are reformed. That's how our society, that's what we used to fucking believe, right? That's what we used to fucking believe. And as we should still believe that, right? Stop ostracizing people. Give them a chance to come back to society. You know, not pedophiles though. Or not pedophiles, not rapists, not murderers. I don't fucking care if you smoked weed when you were 16, right? How is that grounds to fuck someone over the rest of their life? I don't smoke weed. I hate the smell of weed. I hate when people smell like weed, right? It's fucking disgusting, right? But that shouldn't be grounds for them to have their entire life ruined. It's retarded. I don't know. Me and the murderers are cool. I get it. Well, there's a difference between murder and self-defense. Prison is great for picking up new skills and tattoos. That is talk. Yeah, but you talk about CBT. Checkmate. Right? Anyways, Gibson, a supporter of President Donald Trump, lost his gun rights after a 2011 domestic violence misdemeanor conviction. So, 14 years ago, he received a domestic violence misdemeanor conviction. I don't have the details of that, but right here it says misdemeanor conviction. That is no fucking reason to have his gun rights stripped from him for 14 fucking years in the first place. But the fact that it's been 14 fucking years of denying an American citizen their Second Amendment right when he didn't fucking kill anyone in a... Hold up. Let's look at this. What is... What? Mel Gibson was charged with misdemeanor battery after a 2010 fight with his then girlfriend at his Malibu home. Okay. So, okay, well, it doesn't give details, right? But it's misdemeanor battery, right? A weapon wasn't even involved. A weapon wasn't even involved. Sorry, y'all. I can't fucking type right now. So like, all right, we just pulled it up, right? Because he would have actually had a different charge if a gun was used, right? So no gun was even used. He got into a fight with his girlfriend. I don't care. Society seems to look at that as very negative. I'm going to tell y'all right now, relationships are fucking hard. Relationships are fucking hard. And relationships as a man with a woman are the most difficult relationships you can have on planet Earth because women will test every fucking button you have. Women will test you daily to see whatever the fuck they can get away with and also try to assert themselves over you. Okay? And I'm not saying this is grounds to hit a woman or anything like that. But in a society where we teach women that it's okay to fuck around with men but not find out, you're going to have dudes who get fucking tired of being fucked around with, and then women are going to find out. If you want actual equality in this country, right? One, women need to face the exact same repercussions that men do. Two, women need to be raised to understand there are repercussions for fucking around with a man, right? Because that's how you have a just society. You raise men to not hit women, and you raise women to not do shit to get hit by men. Wow. Why is that too much to ask for? Just like the argument when I was younger about girls wearing spaghetti strap fucking shirts at school, right? Okay? It's inappropriate. It's inappropriate in the first place. You know what the solution to the argument is? I mean, it's look, here's the truth. Teenage girls are just as sexually active as teenage boys, right? Both fucking genders have their hormones fluctuating and going all crazy and shit. They're both sides are horn dogs, all right? It's inappropriate for girls to wear revealing clothing. Okay, and it's sure it's inappropriate for boys to stare or whatever. Raise boys to not be horn dogs and raise girls to not fucking draw out the natural fucking desires of boys. Okay, like I'm sorry, the solution is both, right? Because the argument always was, well, you need to raise your boys to be better. Okay, well maybe you should raise your daughters to be better as well. Sure, we could raise boys to be better, but we could raise girls to be better too, right? You can raise boys to not be tempted by sin, and you can raise girls to not do the tempting of sin. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of deal. Okay, and I'm not a religious person or anything like that, but it's just the best way to to describe it, right? Like, well, why is the argument fucking one sided? It makes no fucking sense. So, anyways, the moral of the story is this woman is fired because she refused lawful orders. That's it. But the left wants to lie because that's all they fucking do. But a second senior Justice Department official who is not authorized to speak publicly said Oyer's ouster is part of a very concerning set of personal moves across the federal government and DOJ. Okay, well, again, this is what I'm going to tell you right now. A second senior Justice Department official, not named, was not authorized to speak publicly and then spoke publicly. This second senior Justice Department official should be removed. This individual should be fired as well. Bye. Get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry, that's just the way it works in the federal government. You have to request permission to speak publicly regarding certain affairs, right? Uh, so as far as I'm concerned, either the name is listed and he's removed, and that will give him credibility for what he's saying because he decided to actually stand up for what he's saying and try to expose the truth, or this person doesn't exist in the first place and this is all just being made up by the left, right? If you're not going to name names, I'm sorry, but then the information doesn't fucking matter. Shortly after Trump took office, the new leadership at the Justice Department, including the offices of the Solicitor General and the Deputy Attorney General, indicated that restoring gun rights to previously convicted felons was a top priority. Federal law bars people convicted of crimes, including misdemeanor state domestic violence, from owning or purchasing handguns. Handguns. That's stupid. That's an infringement on the Second Amendment. Therefore, that's actually illegal by the federal government and by the state government to do that. A senior Justice Department official questioned the decision. The fact that this was the number one thing they wanted to address was bizarre, said the official, who asked not to be named. Well, this person doesn't exist because they asked not to be named. Sorry, you have no credibility. You have no credibility behind what you're saying. And actually, this wasn't the number one thing they started doing. Sorry, a ton of other shit has happened. Multiple sources familiar with the matter said there have been ongoing meetings with senior Justice Department attorneys from the Deputy Attorney General's office, the ATF, the criminal division of the ATF of the the criminal division of the ATF, and the pardon attorney's office in recent weeks about the issue. Oyer was one of the people assigned to a working group. It was led by Paul Perkins of the Deputy Attorney General's office and James McHenry, the acting Attorney General, blah, blah, blah. Since the early 1990s, an appropriations restriction has prohibited ATF from exercising its authority to restore gun rights. Well, wouldn't it make sense that if there's a federal agency that can take away your gun rights, like the ATF, which was using bureaucratic law to The ATF was using bureaucracy to create administrative law and then force that on citizens when it wasn't passed by Congress, okay? To then retroactively and proactively remove the Second Amendment rights from American citizens. That shouldn't have been fucking happening in the first place, for starters, okay? That's a non-starter right there, all right? But obviously, if the ATF is an agency that can remove rights, then it should also play a part in restoring the rights. So none of this makes fucking sense in the first place. And we're going to get into this, man, because I'm starting to really pick up every time the left is talking about something, names aren't named. Names aren't named unless like they can't get away with it, right? Like the pardon attorney, Elizabeth G. Oyer, who the whole subject is around. This is the only person listed in this fucking entire article, but they reference other people. Did I hear ATF? I'm going back to the mine. Oh shit, no, not the dogs.